Hello friends, welcome to Educate 247. So this will be your second video on the series on root words. So if you haven't watched our first video in this series, I request you to click on the link below in the description. And also if you are new to our channel, I request you to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned with amazing MBA related content on our channel. So in this video, we'll be covering the session 2 of Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. So it's going to have the words based on personality types. So let's begin. So before we begin with our session, let's look at the root words which the words will be going to be discussed on. So first, the root word is ego. So ego means self or I. The next word we have is maniac. So maniac means madness. The next word we have here is alter, means to change or other. So let's begin. So these are going to be words which will be discussed in today's session and are based on the human personality types. So our first word here is egocentric. So egocentric has two words. So it's ego, which means self, and centric, as we know, is centered, so around himself. So egocentric will basically be thinking only of oneself without regards or feelings or desires of others. So someone who only thinks about himself and doesn't care about any other person's feelings, etc. So he will be termed as egocentric. The next word will be egomaniac. So egomaniac, as we discussed, have ego, which means I, and maniac means madness. So egomaniac will basically mean a person who is obsessively egoistical or self-centered. So he could go to any extent. He's mad for his satisfying his own selfishness. He could do anything in his way. Next we have is altruism. So altruism, similar word was discussed in our previous session if you had seen it. So altruist. So altruist was basically someone who believes in welfare of other people. So this is similar. So altruism is being disinterested in himself and has a selfless concern for the well-being of others. So here also he is someone who has a welfare for others will have the nature of altruism in him. The next word here is to alter. So to alter, the to basically refers the verb form of the word. So alter means to change in character or composition, typically in a comparatively small but significant way. So we are going to have a change which is small, yet it's significant. So these three words are very important. So you're actually changing a very small part, but it's going to have a significant effect. So let's move at the next word. We have is to alternate. So to alternate is again verb form for the alternate. So here is to perform by turns or in succession. So basically I could state it as one after other. So one action, then another action, then again the first action. So it's happening alternatively. So it's happening one after other. The next word is alternative. So alternative is basically choice. So available as another possibility or choice. So you have suppose two things. So we term as this thing will be alternative to this. So let's move to our next word. I hope you are understanding, students. So our next word here is alternate. So alternate is now going to be something which occurs in turn or repeatedly. So again it's occurring one after other. So it's same as the verb form of the word. So the next word we have is alteration. So alteration is basically the action or process of altering. So altering, as we discussed, is changing something. So if you are actually changing something, that process is going to be known as alteration. So it's a noun form actually. The alter ego. So alter ego. So again we have two words here. Alter means other, and ego is going to be I. So other two words, or other self, as you say. So a person, secondary or alternative personality. So we have some people who actually try to be good, and other side they behave bad. So they have the alter ego, which is their alternative personality. The next word we have is altercation. So altercation is basically a noisy argument or a disagreement, especially in public. So actually a type of quarrel, you can say, but in public. So it's called as altercation. So I hope you're clear with all 10 words discussed in this session. So now we'll be moving to our exercise. So here we'll actually have the match the column thing. So let's begin. So first word we have is a root word ego. So ego is basically going to be, if you see, it's one's concept of oneself. So which is basically I. So we are going to have ego here. Next is egocentric. So egocentric, if you see, was a person who is so involved in himself and doesn't care about other person's feelings. So I could simply see A here, one who is excessively fixated on his own desires and needs. So I could place egocentric here. Next we have is altruism. So altruism was basically welfare of others. So it's basically philosophy of putting another's welfare above own. Next we have is to alternate. To alternate means basically one after other, I could say. So to alternate will be to take one and skip one. Next we have is to alter. To alter means to change. So this was simple. So I'll just put 5 here. Then we had is altercation. Altercation was basically a quarrel or an argument. So we could just place it here. Next is egomaniacal. Egomaniacal was someone who was mad and who was so obsessively wrapped in oneself. So egomaniacal is basically your I. So I'll just put 7 here. Next was alter ego, is another personality. So one's other self will be alter ego. Next is alteration, is basically a process to change something. So a change, I could simply say. So now we'll be moving to our next exercise. I hope you are clear with this. So our next exercise will be analyzing the following and answering in yes or no. So our first statement here is rejection usually a blow to one's ego? So yeah, a egocentric will have a blow to himself. So it's yes. Next word we have is, are egocentric people easy to get along with? So egocentric people will always be involved in themselves and don't care about your feelings. So it's not easy. So answer will be no. Does an egomaniac have a normal personality? So do you think a person who is so mad about his ego will have a normal personality? So it's simply going to be no. Next is altruism a characteristic of selfish people? So altruism is basically relating to welfare of people. So it's again going to be no, because they can't be selfish. In fact, they are selfless. Is an alternate plan necessarily inferior? So it might be or might not be. So generally it's a alternative means a choice. So it has to be equal in sense. So I will say no again. So let's move to our next statement. Does an alternative choice allow you some freedom of choice? So is alternative going to give you freedom of choice? Definitely it's going to give me a freedom of choice. So answer is going to be yes. Next is, does an alteration imply keeping things the same? So do alteration imply keeping, actually it's the process to change. So it's going to be no. Next we have is, does excitable people often engage in alteration? So if you see excitable people, do they have quarrels? So generally they might get into quarrels or arguments publicly. So just yes. So is your alter ego usually quite similar to yourself? So definitely it's not going to be similar to yourself, because it's the other personality. So that's all for today's session. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed the video. So please don't forget to hit the like button and also share this video with your friends, and stay tuned to our vocab series and another many such interesting series on our Educate 247 channel. Have a nice day. Thank you.